lowriders? Like, what was it about them that captivated your attention?
I think it's just that each one is different. Is because everybody has their own style. Everybody likes, a certain type of car, certain years, certain makes.
So it's like very customizable.
Yes.
You get to see what people are
Wait,
like.
are you?
Likes.
Is it already on?
No, we're going, bro.
Oh,
We
shit.
going.
All right, I'm sorry.
This is not formal.
Okay, this is already
This
it.
is just like a conversation. Like we just met up and like, hey, what's up, dude? How you doing?
Okay.
But is it because it's the customization of like you get to see what like in those movies, Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Well, not the last ones, but like the third one.
the
Did you ever
first
see Tokyo Drift?
No, I probably did, but I don't really. It's been a while.
Well, like you know how everybody had their own persona or whatever, and it kind of like matched the car.
Yeah.
So kind of like that.
Yeah. To go with that, it's like I was saying. There's cars that go from the 30s.
Yeah.
And you have a certain type of individual that likes that car.
Yeah.
Usually they're the older guys. The guys that have been around for a while. You got the cars from the 40s. A lot of late 50s are really popular. 57 Chevy, classic. 58 Impala, the 60s Impalas. You got it. Like me, I like the 80s, what they call the G body. It's
G-body.
General Motors. You got Oldsmobile Cutlass, Buick Regal, Chevy Monte Carlo, the Pontiac Grand Prix. It's a two-door, the last generation of rear wheel drive cars, and that's my style. That's what I like.
Nice. Can you tell me how RGV Lowriders got started? Like, what's the history behind this page, or how would you title it?
It's I've thought about it too, and I can't really put a name to it. I don't know if I should call it a brand. It was
It's
a platform.
definitely a brand.
Yeah, but the way it started was back in probably the early 2000s, about 2003. I had started going back to car shows here locally, and at the time there was no Facebook. There was no Instagram. There was no social media.
Yeah.
There was internet, but it wasn't too popular. I guess it was, but I started going to car shows around that time, and I would Google, or I don't even think Google was. I always use Yahoo, and I'd search like Rio Grande Valley car shows.
Yeah.
And there was really nothing. So there was another website that was really popular, like worldwide. It's called layitlow.com.
Layitlow.com.
Layitlow.com, and it was a forum, and there was members from literally all over the world, and it had sections for post your rides, upcoming shows and events, all types of information, working on cars, paint, body, audio, everything. So when I was going to the shows, it was hard for me to find them because there was no internet, there's no.
Yeah.
The way you would find out was flyers.
Oh,
People would put flyers like
and word of mouth, no?
Yeah, word of mouth. Sometimes even commercials on the radio. So after about a year or two of going to the shows, I started, like I said, I was searching our Rio Grande Valley car shows, and there was nothing. But there was some other websites that popped up. There was RGV Euros, RGV Domestics, RGV Trucks. And I'm like, there's nothing for lowriders. And I grew up, I can tell you stories from back in the mid-'80s when I was a kid and my first experience with a lowrider. But
Well, talk about it. That's what this is
but
for.
let me finish about that,
Oh, yeah,
because I don't
yeah.
want to kind of. So
So you were on Yahoo, like trying
yeah.
to find
So when I
something.
found all those websites, I was like, hey, there's nothing for lowriders. Like, what if I can create something kind of like to maybe not copy, but kind of like go along with like what Lay It Low was, but for the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was like I said, I was going to car shows already. I see the same people. I'm seeing the same cars, and I'm like, I see these guys, these cars, but I don't know them. I don't know what they drive, stuff like that. So little by little, at the job I had at the time, I kind of made my own hours. So when I would leave the office, I would go to the library in McAllen, the old one on Main Street.
The one that was a Walmart, right?
No, that's the new one.
Oh, okay. My
So
bad.
there was an old one on Main, close to the art district.
On Main Street.
Yes.
The incubator. It's an incubator now.
Yes, yeah. So I would go there. I'd spend about an hour just trying. And what I did was I would go to those websites I found, the Euros, domestic, sports cars, trucks, and I would message the administrator of the guy that kind of handled the website. I'm like, hey, how did you do this? Like, how did you make the page, this and that? And they directed me to
To a book.
no, it was called proboards.com, and it was a host for forums.
Yeah.
So they had all the what do you call it? Everything to make the forum. It was already on their page. So you just, of course, name it. You can choose the fonts, colors of the fonts, links, all that. So little by little, I started working on it, and then October 31st on
Halloween.
I'm sorry. On Halloween, 2006 is when it launched. So I was like, you know what? Let me see what happens. I didn't look ahead. I didn't
This
look
is the RGV Lowriders.
RGV Lowriders. It started out as a website, as a forum.
But what did you have in there? Like, what was like?
I made
Like, what did it have on top? And then what did it say? Or like, what was the
URL, I guess, or it was called, since it was free, of course, ProBoards was hosting it, so they want their name on there. So it was rgvlowriders.proboards51.com. So when I launched it, I'm like, and I made the same categories. Welcome, tell us about yourself, post your ride, upcoming shows and events, cars for sale, looking for parts, different sections. So once I had it running, I went to layitlow.com, which was super popular, and I knew there was people from the Valley that were on the website. So I started making topics, just saying, hey, a new forum for RGV Lowriders, and it was just like, it's just like a common phrase, just RGV, right? Everybody uses RGV in businesses or whatever. So I said, you know what? I'll just name it RGV Lowriders. And that's how it started. And then, so sure enough, later that same day, because you can, as the administrator, you can see everything. This guy logged in, this guy logged out, this guy posted this member. So I started seeing that there was members on the website already, like registered members.
So it's kind of like a Facebook group, kind of like that, no?
Something like that.
Because I don't know if you've made a Facebook group where you can add members.
Yes.
Every time they post something, it tells you, like,
it gives you a little, like a log of what's going on the website. So little by little, I started, the website started getting members, registered members, this and that. So over time, there's quite a few members. It's pretty much the majority of the guys that are into lowriders from the Valley were on the website. So since there's guys from different clubs, some from Brownsville, some from Rio Grande City, in the whole area, everybody had ideas, shows. Like I mean, at the time, I wouldn't know what was going on in Brownsville because there was no social media.
Yeah.
So a guy from Brownsville can post, hey, there's a show at, so-and-so, this day, this, that, and to post the flyer. So that's how that started. And then, like I said, it kept growing.
It blew up.
It was growing. It was pretty cool. And about 3 years, let me see, I was 06. In 2012, which was when Facebook got big, worldwide.
It exploded.
Yeah, so a lot of the members started going to Facebook, I guess because it was new. I want to do this. And I never had Facebook. Mm-hmm. At the time, I think Facebook started in 06.
I think 05.
It was only for that college.
Like the college students, yeah.
And then it went to the Ivy League schools in the area, and then it finally went worldwide. So in 2012, there was a guy on the website who helped me. I actually gave him the administrator powers, which means because he kind of knew hey, this guy's posting this dumb stuff, just delete it, because we didn't want to give RGV Lowriders a bad name. It was something that we were, it was something for the whole Valley, and we didn't want to give it a bad name. So actually, I got ahead, but in around 2 years. after the website was launched, I gave him the power. So he, after that, we started meeting each other every year, or we'd see each other every now and then. So, you know, and I knew he had kind of like the same mentality as I did. Like, hey, like don't make RGB Lowriders look bad. Like, it's not about, some guys would start arguing. They make topics and just childish stuff. And we would have to kind of like, hey, like, just delete that topic, delete the whole, the post, whatever. Could just keep it clean, and we just wanted it to pretty much spread the word. And I always say to unite the RGV, the whole, the lowrider community in the valley. Pretty much, that's what it was for. And in 2012, that guy that was an administrator on the website, he's like, hey, everyone's going to Facebook. I'm like, what's
Facebook? Ship or what?
Yeah, he's like, everybody's going to Facebook, and I'm like, I don't have Facebook, and I don't care for it, And he asked me, hey, do you mind if I make a Facebook page for RGV Lowriders? And like since I had already known him for the 6 years before that, I said, yeah, just but just keep it clean, don't give it a bad name, And he started the page, and the Facebook page started blowing. It got big. Even it's well.
So
I don't want to.
Do people ever like recognize you? Like, hey, that's the guy from RGV Lowriders.
Yeah, it's funny because every now and then somebody will be like, "Hey, you're that guy," and I'm thinking like, in my mind, I'm like, who's this, But it has happened to where people will come up to me. Actually, there's about 2-3 months ago, I was driving my car, my lowrider.
What type of lowrider do you have?
I have a 1985 Buick Regal.
Oh.
So I was driving it. Usually on my days off, I'll take a ride in Edinburgh where I live. And I went to a Stripe store, and I pulled in, and I see the only reason I saw it was because the kid was staring at my car, right? And so I go and I park up at the very front, and the kid, I heard him tell his mom, look at that lowrider, I want
a car like that.
Yeah. So the kid was about 10 or 11 maybe, and I heard him say, Mom, I like that lowrider, I want one. And he was in a baseball suit. I guess he had just gotten out of practice or something. His mom, so I went inside the store. And then I can't remember what I was getting, but when I was gonna pay, I saw the kid behind me, and he just kept staring at me, right? Like, cool, and I left. All right, so like 2 weeks later, a few weeks later, I'm at Walmart. I'm in the water aisle looking at I don't know, something in the water aisle, and this kid comes right next to me. He's kind of like looking at me, and to me it was a little awkward because I don't know why the kid's like that close to me, who he is. And
he was like, Daddy?
No.
Is that you?
No. And then, so I'm like trying to figure out, like, maybe is he lost, or why is he right next to me? Well, there's a cart coming, and there's an older woman pushing the car. He's like, hey, grandma, whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, he left. But then he came to my other side, and he's looking at me again. And I'm like, I have no idea who this kid is. And then he says, are you the guy with the lowrider?
Oh.
And I'm like, it kind of caught me by surprise, because I was like,
as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, like who are, he's like, hey, I saw you at the store.
Oh, damn.
I don't know how he remembered my face, but
it's because he liked the car.
Maybe, I don't know. And I said, oh, are you the one in the baseball suit? He's like, yeah, that was me with my mom. And I'm like, oh. And I thought it was just the coolest thing, because you don't expect it. You never know who's watching you. And that's why, that's one of the reasons it's like, hey, keep RGV Lowriders clean. I don't want, hey, I'm not, into anything, So when so I talked to him for a little bit, like, oh, do you like my car? Yeah, I want one later on, this and that. And so his mom finally gets there, and they're down the aisle. So I said, ma'am, I don't know if you remember me, but I was at she's like, yeah, I remember you, this and that. And I said, hey, do you mind if I take a picture with your son? And I actually took a picture with the kid, and I'm kind of just like, and then I posted it on my story
Yeah.
on RGV Lowriders Instagram, and everybody thought it was just cool. It was like,
Nice,
dude,
yeah.
like that's
pretty
being
awesome.
an example, for the next generation, man.
Right. Well, speaking of unexpected,
Yeah.
what did you think of like this space, Backdoor Modern Vintage?
This is a cool place. A lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff, colorful. I actually like to go to garage sales and thrift stores myself, but I don't find stuff like.
Garage sales. Yeah, right. Like you don't go like a regular job like I do. It's hot. It's hard work.
I know it is.
And then bargaining with those ladies, I want $10, and it's like, what? It's only $1
Yeah.
for a tie.
A tie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like negotiating during garage sales or what?
I'm not a real big negotiator, but
I always
kinda
negotiate, but then I always pay over for the trouble because I feel guilty. So either way, I win.
See, if it's too much, then it's to me it's like, okay, thank you. And then usually they might say like, hey, well, how much do you want to give me? So and then it's like, oh, I can give you so much. I'm not like I'm an introvert, man. I'm shy.
Yes, we know that.
I don't know if you
For
can
2
tell.
hours, we're trying to dress you, and you
And then-
wouldn't let me style you, but that's okay. One day you will.
Yeah, that's
You
just.
should bring your lowrider.
I should have, but
You
it's
have a
just,
lowrider vehicle?
Yeah.
Well, we could have done a photo shoot.
Yeah.
should.
We got the
told me.
models right here.
Look, whenever I could probably.
Next Wednesday, I want to hear.
Next Wednesday, bring your
Bring
lowrider.
your lowrider next
I don't know
Wednesday.
if
Yeah,
I
we're
think
gonna
I
do a
work,
photo
though.
shoot.
Okay,
And I'm gonna
the next
style
Wednesday.
you.
Oh, next.
I'll style you.
No,
And we'll get some
no.
girls. Yes.
You can get some girls, but you're not
I
gonna.
can make you look like Lou Diamond Phillips in 5 minutes.
Lou Diamond
No.
Phillips. La Bamba.
La Bamba.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know,
Heartthrob.
but you
Like
know,
you would be getting a lot of play.
No.
Like
No.
you would be looking up in the world because you gotta dress the part. So if you're like this powerful person, you gotta show everybody.
but do you like to dress up like when you go out to shows? Like, do you like
No.
dress up
you
or
dress
anything?
like that. Always.
This is.
But like, I mean, like, you don't have like hoodies that have like
I
RGB
do have.
lowriders.
I
or
do
anything
have.
like
So you wear a hoodie
I don't-
everywhere
No, I don't wear a hoodie.
and a
Not it-
backpack.
No.
What do we think when we see a hoodie and a backpack?
that? He's comfortable.
No. A lot of people do feel
That's just-
comfortable in
that's
that.
just-
Like me. I wear golf clothes every day.
Golf clothes.
Yeah, I work like if I just got off playing golf, but
Yeah, she's a really good golf player.
Really?
but like because I like enjoy it. So like you have to feel comfortable with what you wear, and you can still be. I see you match your tennies and your hoodie with the
I-
orange.
Hey.
I actually
Let's just
had
like
it.
vintage, baby.
I actually had an
Where's
orange
the
watch,
orange
but
watch?
it was in my garage and I didn't go get it. But I was
Okay,
orange,
next
orange,
week.
orange.
Nice.
I'll find something. I can do it. This is
I
the
think
challenge.
next Wednesday I can actually.
challenge.
I'm
Yeah,
off.
next Wednesday, come.
And I promise you, we're gonna take the best picture, and you can put it in a frame, and you can see your car with some models. And when you get older, you can go look. I was Magnum PI.
Well, let me ask you right quick. You said that you want to keep the page clean. What do you mean by that? The
Just,
RGB lowriders clean.
By clean, I just mean not giving it a bad name as like I don't want.
But what do you mean?
I don't want it to be associated with gangs. I don't care where you're from, what color it's like that's not what the lowrider community is about. I think that's a big misconception
It
that
is a
people have.
misconception
Yeah,
because most of the people who can afford a lowrider,
are not gang
they
members.
got money in the bank. They're not hustling. They got the money.
They're not gang members,
retired.
exactly.
This is what they love. That reminds them of their nostalgia, of their childhood,
Yeah.
of their families, of the
He's-
barrio, the valley.
He's trying to inspire the youth.
Yeah. But I agree with him about the Lowrider magazine rap, because
Yeah, a lot of
even the
people.
name itself it says low. And then rider.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's connotative and it's derogatory towards Latinos.
Yeah.
And guess what? That's why you have to do fundraisers and you have to get into
Exactly.
the charity and you have to start raising money and wear awareness for young kids to keep them in school.
That back in the 60s and when car clubs first became popular, the objective of car clubs, lowrider car clubs, was actually to do community fundraisers. It wasn't to.
It's what you can
yes,
do for the community
exactly.
that makes you make a long-lasting impression.
Yeah.
For the youth, when you talk about the children, the number one, I always say this and I'm going to say it again, the number one resource is not oil or gas or water. It's the minds of our children.
Yeah.
And that's when, we have to remember that's what we have to leave us in the future.
Yeah, that's like I was saying, that's what the car clubs in the 70s first started doing. It was more of about, you know what? Yes, we're a lowrider car club, but we formed to help the community, whether it be like fundraisers, just events, to put on for the community to kind of like show appreciation for them. Like, a lot of car clubs here in the valley have like an annual show.
Yeah.
Lowriders are invited to Fourth of July
It's big
parades.
business, and it's
Yeah.
it's an expensive hobby, because you have to find parts
Oh yeah.
that are like, it's like treasures. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I gotta go to Ohio, or I gotta call
Yeah,
Memphis
like my cousin, he would like travel to like Arkansas
to get parts.
or Minnesota or
His
wherever.
his cousin has a really nice car. I mean,
Yeah,
like
my cousin does lowrider for a living.
like,
Like he fixes them and everything.
yeah, he has
We
his
need to have a
paint.
show here, Backdoor Modern Vintage, on the side right here. We can have a show
It's
to
very
raise money
possible.
for-
Yeah, my cousin got a junk.
I want to go
Car?
in one that goes up and down like that.
Mine doesn't have that
Hydraulics.
because because I did have the kit, brand new kit, 2 pumps, everything. But I'm like, the car's not my priority because I've got my family, everything, so I kind of
It's
just
your
left.
hobby.
Yeah, I kind of just left
It's
it there, left it there.
therapy.
I ended up selling the hydraulic kit, and now my car's boring, I guess you could say.
Hey,
It's
call
just,
my cousin.
yeah,
Yo,
but, I
what
mean, there's guys here that have asked,
we can
like,
have a fundraiser lowrider show for young kids, and we can dress them up, make a backdrop, and take pictures. And what we can just make a backdrop, and then have all the cars come one by one, and they can take picture with their family.
What my cousin used to do with his brothers is every Christmas they would like get toys, and they would like park
Yeah.
all their lowriders in like a parking garage, like at an HEB or something, and they would like do like a little show while kids
Yeah.
would come and
Yeah.
get their toy and take pictures. They would get a Santa Claus and do all that type of stuff.
yeah, there's a guy here. I just know him as Juan.
Juan.
They call him
No, pues
Chilango.
hay muchos Juan.
They call him Chilango, but he's had so many cars, and around Christmas time he puts together a toy drive. So I think I can't remember, maybe a few months before Christmas he'll start asking people to donate toys. So I think it's right before Christmas.
Between November and between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, they'll get together closer to Christmas. He'll put out the date, the place they're gonna meet. So you got a bunch of lowriders, and they'll go into the little communities outside of the city, and spend hours giving away toys. And that's one of the things that I think should be more publicized.
Yeah.
Because it's something for the community. It's not like I say, it's not about gangs. It's not about any of that stuff. You can have guys from different cities, different neighborhoods. You have a lowrider and you see a guy on a lowrider, like there's that connection. Like, hey,
Like, I
that's a nice,
respect you.
yeah, like cool, man. Like,
Yeah.
I've gone to when I use my car, I'll go to a store, I'll go anywhere, and it's like almost. Every time that somebody will come up and like, dude, can I see your car? Like, yeah, I'll be pumping gas and they're looking inside my car, like, man, and it brings back memories. Like, man, my dad had one of these, or I had one of these back in the 90s, and it's just something cool to see, something cool to hear, man.
So going back, when you were a kid,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember when you first saw a lowrider?
Yes.
Like, but not in like TV or
No.
like in person. What was that like?
So that where we used to live, we lived second house from an intersection. So it was a corner house, and it was where we lived. So there's an intersection here.
Yeah.
I remember I was about maybe 7 or 8 years old, and I was in the front yard in the driveway playing with something. And I see a kid coming down the street on a bike, but it wasn't a regular bike. So I'm like,
It's like a lowrider bike.
it caught my eye. I'm like, I'm looking at him coming, and sure enough, he stops right in front of me. And the whole time I'm looking at the bike, and the kid, his name was Ronnie. Oh, I mean, not a kid anymore, but
Imagine if he still was. You'd
but
be
Ronnie.
like, what? Did you find the fountain of youth?
So Ronnie, he stops right in front of me, and I remember looking at everything on the bike, and the first thing I said was, "What's wrong with your bike?" And he's like, "Nothing. It's a lowrider." And I think that was the first time I had ever heard the term lowrider, and
Yeah.
it stuck with me. I'm like, I'm looking at the handlebars. The frame of the bike was different. I believe it was one of those older Schwinn bikes. It had 16-inch wheels with white wall tires, spray painted black. It looked like, and the handlebars were like way out here, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, "Hey, no, what's wrong with your bike?" And then he's like, "Nah, that's the way they are. You know, they're supposed to be like that, this and that." So that stayed with me, right? I was around 7 or 8 years old. Fast forward to about 11, 12, 13 years old, around there. You know, I'd go to the store with my parents, and you know, H-E-B, Walmart. Every time they pay, you got the magazine racks right there.
Oh, yeah. You will see the lowriders there.
So they always had Lowrider magazine, and that's when I started picking up the magazine
With
and
the
going
models
through it.
and everything.
Yeah, yeah. So this is probably 1990 maybe, and I'd see like every page, and I'd be like, "This is like
Awesome.
cool." Like, I don't know, it was just something you're not used to seeing.
Yeah.
So back that was around 90, 91. That was even earlier. That was way before RGV Lowrider started. There was, back then, that's when I started going to shows, but I would hear about them on the radio, on B104. I don't know if you remember B104.
Yeah, before it was 104.
Before it was Wild 104.
Yeah,
B104,
before, yeah.
they'd have, I guess, ads or commercial like, "Hey, so-and-so car show at the Tejano Saloon."
Yeah.
Or before Harley Davidson was there, it was La Villarreal Convention Center.
Right.
And I would tell my dad, "Pa, take me. I want to go." You know, and that's how it started.
Yeah.
You're talking about probably 91, 92. And my mom used to have a huge camera, off camera flat, everything.
Yeah.
She never really used it, but I would always mess with it. And so when I started going to car shows, I'd say like, "Let me like," and I mean, I didn't know how to use a camera at the time, so she bought me disposable cameras, like,
Nice.
you
Yeah,
know.
I remember.
So that's how it started. That's how I started taking pictures, and I don't know if she still has them, but I had a photo album of pictures from car shows back in the early 90s, and you know, as time went on, you know, I just kept going to car shows here and there. In 1994, I think, I got into some trouble, not with the law, but, you know, my parents. I did something dumb, and my dad, he whooped my ass, man.
Bare hands, or did you get a chancla?
Bare hand, man. And I think my mom felt bad for me, because at that time I was already buying lowrider magazines, and there was also a lowrider bicycle magazine, and I always wanted one because I thought, I just wanted one. It's like, I have to have one, you know. So I think my mom felt bad when my dad spanked me. That about 2 days later, she said, "Which bike do you want?"
Aw.
So I'm like, so at the time, Lowrider magazine had what they call, well, it was Lowrider bicycle magazine also, but Lowrider magazine had, I guess, a store, their own, you know, they made their own bike parts.
Yeah.
So, you know, I went, and that back then there was no internet, so you had to order. You know, a lot of magazines had the paper order
rip it
form.
out.
The order form you had to fill out.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
So I remember I had to do that, and I want the red frame. I want these wheels, these handlebars, this. So, you know, I can't remember how long it took. You had to buy money orders at the time too. You know, there was no online payment, none of that stuff. So I got my bike. I thought it was the prettiest thing ever, man. And I actually have a picture of it. Can I show it to you?
You could send it, and then we'll show it on the.
Okay, I'll
the
send it to you.
podcast.
So I built my bike not knowing all the parts that went on it. So I was missing parts. I'm like, I can't ride it, you know. So I told my dad, let's go to take it to Bicycle World on Nolan and McAllen.
Yeah.
And they, you know, "Oh, you're missing these bearings and these bearings and this," and picked it up, and I rode that bike. It's funny because we lived at that time. We had moved towards Freddy Gonzalez and McCall Road.
Oh, okay. I know.
I would ride my bike all the way down Klosner, Main Street in
Damn.
Edinburgh, just up and down on my lowrider. I had mirrors. I had little beads hanging. I had lights on it. It was
Yeah.
just, to me, it was just the coolest thing ever.
How old were you around this
I was
time?
around, when I got my bike, I was around 14 or 15.
And no one ever messed with you like, hey, give me your bike.
No, luckily, no.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I know. Back in the 90s, it was kind of bad. Even on Fridays, also when I was in school, we after the football games, we'd walk up and down Klosner. Everybody would be up and down Klosner. There was a Peter Piper there close by, and people would hang out there. And like I remember back then, you could see people cruising, and you can hear the hydraulics, and it's just like it was such a cool thing to see. And then around that time, 10th Street also used to be like the biggest cruising spot. I
Yeah.
mean,
Is it still going on?
No, not on 10th Street. I think they stopped it because I think
The noise complaint or what?
I went a few times, but I don't know why they stopped it. I'm thinking because, not to be prejudiced, but when Fast and Furious came out, I think everyone started racing, and that got the cops to like, hey, start giving citations here. Oh, no parking here, no congregating here, and it kind of killed the scene for a while.
Wow.
That in the 90s, it was just everywhere. There was a 10th Street, there was Anzalduas Park, Delta Lake Park, even Texas Boulevard here in Weslaco.
Sometimes cars pass by and they're racing each other right here. in front.
Yeah. It's and that kind of kills it. And that's another thing. A lowrider is not going to be racing.
No, it's more for show.
It's more of about, there's that slogan or the saying low and slow. It's not about I'm not going to be going fast, this and that.
Yeah.
That's for hot rods, that's for sports cars.
Yeah.
The lowrider, it's just the coolest thing. On my last car, I did have hydraulics. My car would go up and down, and then I could move it to the back, all this stuff. And honestly, just 20, going to a park somewhere or hanging out with somebody else that has a lowrider. Like I had a friend in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Like, hey, are you off today? Like, yeah, man, hey, let's meet up. Let's go here. And we would do it. And it was pretty much every light we were at, our cars are start moving, dancing, and it's just the coolest thing. You can see people with their phone and next to you. I don't know. It's just an awesome feeling to have.
Well, you mentioned congregating. Are you trying to like have meetups with RGV Lowrider, or like what type of events or type of things are you promoting in your page nowadays?
So when we started the website in 2006, there was a guy that brought up the idea of having a picnic. Hey, let's have a picnic, because the Lay It Low used to have an annual picnic for members. Like I think it was in Utah, Salt Lake City or somewhere up there.
Oh, dang.
So this guy brought up the idea. This guy was from Brownsville. I think his name was Arturo. He brought up the idea like, hey, why don't we have a picnic for RGV Lowriders like they do on Lay It Low? We'll just set a date, a place, and time. And it's like, damn, that sounds like a good idea, right? So sure enough, the guy that I was telling you about earlier that I gave the powers to, he put it together. He went to the city of Weslaco, got the permit for the park, Weslaco City Park, because it's a big area. There's a lot of area there. So
The one where they play soccer over here?
yeah, I think there's softball fields. and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's a big park, yeah.
So we, sure enough, hey, August this, from 12 to 5, follow the park rules, no bottles, you can drink, but no bottles, this, because they gave them a certain guidelines. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you don't follow the guidelines, this ain't happening again.
What do you mean no bottles?
Beer, like beer bottles.
So you have to like hide it or what?
Well, you can drink can, I guess.
Oh, okay,
but not
okay.
bottle. I don't know why they don't allow bottles, but
I guess because of glass.
yeah. So the first year that we had it, it was more. We were on the website already. The website started in October of 2006. In August of 2007, 10 months later, we had the first annual RGV Lowriders picnic. we didn't expect it. At least I didn't expect such a huge turnout. I mean, I think we had about 200 cars there, like lowriders.
Yeah, yeah.
All the car clubs got to, a lot of car clubs were there. Everybody has their little spots. Bring your chair. It's a family thing too. And it was our first ones. So we kind of like learned from it, like hey, over the years we added more things, little competitions, tire tossing contest.
Oh, wow.
We had a hopping contest, a car hop contest. We had a club tug of war between car clubs, and there was clubs that would sponsor those competitions, and that's how we'd give out, like, I don't know, I think it was like $100, to the club that won the tug of war. $100 for the car hop, the one that went the highest, and
Nice.
it was just
Fun.
it was fun. It was and that's how it started.
So do you do any things like that nowadays?
Well, that was in 2007. That was the first annual RGV Lowriders picnic. This year, earlier in the year, that guy and I we disagreed on some things.
Creative differences or what?
Yeah, we I don't know what happened. We just started disagreeing on some things. It led to more disagreements, and he kind of went on his own. He started his own little, I guess you could say, brand movement, whatever. He started his own, and since he had been the one in charge of the picnic out of his own, like, I never asked him. I said, hey, you need help? I can help you with money. This and no. After a while, he started finding sponsors, and the clubs would sponsor. I don't know. I think it was $50 to $100. You put their logo on the flyer, and people like to see that, your club out there. Anyways, so he went on his own, and this year he did the picnic, but not under RGB Lowriders. It was under his thing.
Oh.
And nothing again. I even went myself. It's not whatever our differences were.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
No, it's just we had our differences, but I don't wish. It's not like I'm not wishing like, hey, follow RGV Lowrider, because we've both been around since the very beginning of RGV Lowriders.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to think that. I don't want you to choose sides. Like, hey, we're all the valley. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought I was not gonna go. I show up, and I'm, everyone's like, hey, Noe, what's up? Hey, good to see you again. This and that, because it's such a good event that some people that are working on their cars or building them wait for the picnic to finally debut it.
Yeah.
That's how big of an event it is. I had brought up the idea of having fundraisers, like, hey, you know what, maybe we should have like an actual show to where we give out trophies, compete, He didn't want to do that. I said, hey, what if we do like little meetups? Like, let's host an event to hang. No, he didn't want, like, everything I would say, he kind of like, he didn't want to do it. And I'm like, dude, like, this is, it's something I started. Like, my opinion should kind of, hey, like, at least think about it. And he kind of didn't want to, and that's pretty much what led to the split. But either way, I went to support his event. And I'm not saying I'm gonna continue it, but it is something I've thought of to have continue, because this year was supposed to be the 17th annual RGV Lowriders picnic. But he changed his name, and now he kind of kept that 17 years there, and everybody's like, it's your first one, So, but anyways, so I kind of I have thought about maybe continuing it next year sometime, but I know it's a lot of planning, and I've never done my own event, but I'm not afraid to try.
Well, if you need help, we can help.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to try. I like. I'm doing this. This is not something that I'm used to.
And thank you for doing it.
Build, lights and cameras and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe next year sometime, in the middle of the year, I might, have or continue the RGV Lowriders picnic under RGV Lowriders.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
There's a saying here in the Valley. People like to say, puro 956. What does that mean to you?
956. Oh, I don't know. It's just I think people are proud of the valley. You know, you go up and you go to maybe North Texas, somewhere Dallas, and you kind of people. I think people don't see how much talent we have down here, and not just cars. It's
Artists,
yeah, not just cars.
musicians.
Yeah, athletes. You got boxers that are
Athletes.
the world champions, the Figueroa brothers here in Weslaco. Omar Juarez or Suarez, I can't remember. Suarez or Juarez. He's from Brownsville. He's also a professional boxer.
Stylist.
Stylist, but yeah, I think a lot of people look down on us because hey, you're from the valley, like and even people that move out of the valley to go to the bigger cities, they still have
No se
that
creen
thing.
mucho.
Yeah, they still like, oh, you're from the valley, oh, you're from Brownsville, you're from But I think the people in the valley, like, we're proud of, what we have.
Right.
It's not. I see no reason to be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
I always think of that, like, there's so, like we just said, there's so much talent here that people haven't discovered us.
Yeah.
I know I can't name them, but there's people that have been like on national shows, TV shows.
Raul Castillo, I think that's his name. He's like an actor too from
Raul.
McAllen.
There
He's
was
come out in a couple shows too.
Yeah, it's just so much down here, and I mean, we need to be proud of it. I don't know, we're more proud than other people and where they live, but
Yeah.
but here in the valley, it's the valley, man. It's the RGV. It's home.
What's the, like, when someone asks you, what is RGV Lowriders all about? Like, obviously it's cars and you're
Yeah.
promoting the culture, but what would you like for people to know about RGV Lowriders and what it's trying to do?
RGV Lowriders, to me, like, it started out as a website, went to the Facebook. Now the Facebook doesn't exist. It's got a new name. Fine. So I have an Instagram that I started back in 2014. I was at a car show in Corpus Christi with my family, and it just came to me like, hey, I had a personal Instagram, and I'm like, why? I told her why. I'm gonna start a Instagram for RGV Lowriders because I literally have tens of thousands of pictures.
Yeah.
That I've taken from car shows. It's. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many pictures I have.
I can picture it.
Yeah, on my phone alone, I have 4,000. So
Damn.
yeah. But anyways,
You must have 5 phones.
yeah. So and then I also have a YouTube account for RGV Lowriders. I've had that for 14 years.
Oh, wow.
And I'm happy to finally say that this is funny. I told my daughters that I was going to find a way for my YouTube to be monetized,
Hey.
right? So they're like, no, it can't happen. No, you're not going to, just watch. So it took me 14 years. I think you needed 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours viewed.
Yeah, people have to watch it.
Yeah, so I already had the hours, but I didn't
Yeah.
have the subscribers. So I kind of started, posting links of my videos, this and that, here and there. In January of this year, I finally got 1,000. They sent me an email like, "Hey,
Congratulations.
thank you. You got, you can be monetized now, this and that." So I'm like, cool. Like I said, I'm not gonna make a lot of money, but I wanted to show my daughters it could be done.
There's a kid.
That's the main thing.
There's a kid on YouTube who makes videos. Well, his parents started out making the videos for him, where he like plays with toys.
Oh yeah, that kid
And
makes
then
like
that
30
kid
minutes.
is. I was living in California like 5 years ago. I was over there for 2 years, and literally one of the jobs that I went to, he moved into like a studio, and it was like a high production. Like he started from YouTube, so like a big studio. So it could happen for you.
Oh my God, yeah. Like, look at Dua Lipa. She became famous from being on YouTube.
He got 1,000 subscribers. He.
So let me tell you. Let me finish telling you.
Tell me.
In January, I got 1,000 subscribers.
People paying you?
Well, no, YouTube pays me, but
Oh, my God.
so it took me
Show me how to
14.
do it, boss.
It took me 14
How
years.
doesn't I like to make money too? Lots
Let
of it.
him talk.
There's
Hold
lots
on.
of it. Who
Hold on,
like
hold
that
on,
money,
wait.
cash money?
Here, look. It took me 14 years to get to 1,000 subscribers. I started posting reels. Reels helps a lot.
Yeah.
It took me get this, 14
Wait,
years.
do I have to take my thing off private?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I don't got nobody liking my stuff. I got like 4, 5, 12, 1. The most I can get 6. That's because I'm on private.
Pues, ni modo.
You got 14 years to get to 1,000. In 6 months, I got to 2,000.
Wow.
In
Whoa.
3 months, which is September, I got to 3,000.
Wow.
So you get
Congrats.
paid for every reel?
Reels and videos.
Okay, I'm gonna start going to reel right now.
Yeah, it's reels and videos, and the reason I wanted to do that was to show my daughter, because I said, look, I'm gonna show you it can be done. I always encourage them to do stuff that they think, nah, it
It's
can't be, it's
impossible.
not possible.
Yeah.
That was the main reason I wanted. It's not a lot of money, honestly,
Well, not now.
because I don't upload videos all the time because it's just car shows. And I don't go to car shows every week or every
Yeah.
other week, so it's just here and there. But I do have so much video on my phone that I make a lot of reels.
Nice.
I'll put up about 3 or 4 reels a week.
Also, YouTube Shorts is a popular.
I'm sorry, it's shorts. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's YouTube Shorts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, back to the question, RGV Lowriders. Pretty much, what I wanted to do was to just unite the valley. That was my main thing. You know, it didn't matter if you're from Brownsville all the way to Roma, and then there's people from like Corpus. About 3 years ago, we had people from Dallas come all the way down to one of our picnics.
Yeah.
So it's a big event.
That's badass.
Yeah, it's. Well, I couldn't believe that they were down here, like, you know, and these are like from major car clubs that have been around a long time. But pretty much, I wanted it just to unite the lowrider community. You know, it doesn't matter what club you're in, what kind of car you like. You know, we're all in it because we like the culture, the cars. You can go to any car show. I've been going to car shows for more or less about 30 years. I have never
30?
from about the early 90s till now.
Damn.
I have never ever seen a fight at a
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
I have never seen anybody get stabbed.
Because they're
or shot.
almost most of them are hardworking individuals.
Exactly. You know, it's not like she was saying, it's not cheap, you know, and like even me, I work, you know, when I can overtime. And I told my wife, hey, I'm going to do overtime. I'm going to get maybe about this much more, you know, and my wife, she's gone to some shows with me, but it's not her thing, you
Yeah.
know, and
But
I
she supports
understand
you.
it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of people might like a car or lowriders, but they'll never have one. They'll never be involved in the scene or anything, which I understand. But the good thing is she's never kept me from doing what I like.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's badass.
So she's always been to, like, I'd be like, hey, there's a show in Corpus. I kind of want to go. She's like, let's go, you know. Of course, she's not going to go to, she's going to go to the, I don't know, I think it's called Ingram Mall or whatever.
Yeah.
We go to San Antonio. She's
Like,
going
go
to
do your thing. I'll do my thing.
just in March, we went to San Antonio. Lowrider Magazine had one of their tour stops in San Antonio. Dropped me off at the Freeman Coliseum. And
What if I get some girls, some promo girls, and we do like lowrider promo girls and bring them to every show?
That could happen.
But you have to pay me and my girls.
That's
But we can sign pictures, make calendars, and we can use that money to donate it for the children's scholarship.
Scholarship.
Scholastic scholarship.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I said
No,
it right. The microphone
if you
messed up.
if you ever want to do an event, let me know with time.
Well, no,
and-
we would have to plan a month and a half in
Yeah.
advance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm down to do that. I want to do a lowrider one here, like, and I want to, because the community needs to outreach to the children that every hobby is a good hobby.
I was telling Carlos earlier that I always wanted to do like events, like meetups.
Let's do it.
I've always
Photography.
I kind
I'll bring the models.
I kind of messed
I already
with.
got.
Hey, he's a photographer too.
I already got some cowboy boots already, ready to go.
I kinda-
French, USA, French, American flag.
Yeah, but yeah, if you ever want to do a show, a lot of people also think RGV Lowriders is a club.
Yeah.
It's not
It
my club.
sounds like a club.
It does, but it's just, I guess, the
Just a
brand.
passion.
Yeah, and I get messages on Instagram. I do now have a new Facebook. It's just RGV Lowriders.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube is RGV Lowriders. Instagram is RGV Lowriders. I get messages all the time about people wanting, like, hey, can you bring your club over?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not a club, but what I can do is put the info out there. Send me a flyer, give me a date, time, place, I'll put it out there. I'll share it as much as I can and see who shows up.
Yeah, yeah.
Just last week or 2 weeks ago, Weslaco had that event here on Texas. They
Like a
for
parade?
Hispanic Heritage Month.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So they send me messages. They send me messages, and I got a few cars out there. You know, but the thing is, it was on a Thursday afternoon. You know,
Yeah.
people, or actually, they wanted people there by 5. I'm like, that's kind of hard
Yeah.
because people are still working.
Yeah,
And
they get out at 5.
yeah, so I was still able to get a few cars out there. We hung out there, had a good time, but yeah, if you're watching this, you want an event with lowriders, send me a message. Give me a time, enough time. Not 2 days from now. It's just give me a few weeks. I'll share it on my Instagram, on my Facebook, and I guarantee you, people will show up.
Perfect.
The lowriders.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share that I haven't asked, or anything that's on your mind that you'd like to share with the people watching, listening? Any shout outs to family, friends, daughters, like, hey, I did it?
Just my, I guess, of course, my family, my wife. I got 3 kids. I was a 19-year-old father. So my son's actually 25 now. He's a welder, and right now he's in Alabama. My daughter just graduated RGV.
Congrats.
Actually last year. She's teaching English in Seoul, South Korea.
Wow.
She left in February or March. I can't remember. She's in Seoul right now.
So she's teaching Korean or English?
She's teaching English to Korean kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I'll show you pictures when I'm done.
Yes.
But
The whole world.
and then I have my 13-year-old who's the only one at home right now.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to get them involved, but like
Yeah.
I understand if it's not their thing,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna force them because then it's not coming from
the heart.
From the heart, yeah.
Got
So, just thank you to everybody who watches. If you want, follow me on my social media. Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. It's just RGV Lowriders.
Perfect. Follow
I
me.
also have well, I don't want to give my personal Instagram, but yeah.
Of course not. There's too many freaking kids out there.
But yeah, thank you for inviting me. Thank you,
Yvette.
yeah, Yvette, for.
You're
I'm,
welcome. Thank you for. I'm gonna saw you next week.
I'm sorry I didn't wear your.
No.
Yeah.
You don't need to say that. You don't need to say that. It's okay.
I'm sorry, but
I'll
thank
be
you.
able to. I'm gonna do some therapy later and get a hot tub, whatever. It's okay. I'm good.
All right, sorry, but thank you for
But
having me.
you are gonna let me style you next week. I'm gonna tell you.
Why next week?
You're going to
You're
bring your
gonna bring your
lowrider.
car.
You want me to bring my car?
Yeah, I want you to park it in front.
All right.
We'll bounce it.
We're gonna have.
I don't have hydraulics.
No, just turn on
It's
the lights.
clean though, but it
But
doesn't.
we'll do
It
a little
doesn't.
photo shoot. I'll get some models and we'll do a little shoot. It'll be cute.
All
Yeah,
right.
you could also take
And you
pictures.
can put it on your. You can do your
YouTube shorts.
YouTube thing. Whatever. Some content.
I can do that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming, Noe. I really appreciate you driving all the way over here and sharing your story a little bit. If you ever want to come be a part of the audience or just come and hang out any Wednesday at 7, we're always here. But thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome to stay. We have a live band. It's gonna start playing now, and
I'll watch it for a little bit.
yeah, cool.